Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 466, and today we're doing battle with LeBlanc Gwen. And so our deck today, this is a modification, an iteration of one of the decks we featured in our 5 decks to try video right at the start of the format. We're looking to iterate even further upon Rico Rex's Hallowed Overwhelm decks from the past Eternal season, but adding the new spiciness out of the Fates Voyage Onward set and Headmistress Telsi. So to give you a peek, if you're not familiar with her, not too many people playing the Noxon cards out of the Fates Voyage Onward set, but she says that allied attack and support abilities activate an additional time. So we make an attack, then our attack abilities, say like from the smaller Hallowed units, make more Ghastly Bands, Kato the Arm support happens multiple times. And so we can shuffle through the deck real quick to show you what we mean with this. The Redeemed Prodigy on attack will make an additional Ghastly Band. Oops, I clicked the Headmistress. Kato the Arm will support twice, so he'll give a unit +6 attack and Overwhelm. Very powerful hit there. Eternal Dancers will summon 2 units instead of 1. And then the big reason that we're looking to include the Headmistress Telsi is going to be Gwen. Gwen has this exceptionally powerful attack ability to where she gains an allied unit's hallowed bonus along with a drain 2 from the enemy nexus. So it gives her the opportunity to get like +4, +6, +8 attack, and then drain 4 from the opponent. Very strong there. If you do manage to get the Gwen flipped onto level 2 to where she starts dealing damage for every 2 power that she has, you have the real potential to OTK your opponent with this Gwen, popping off multiple snips. And so very powerful addition with the Telsi in conjunction with Gwen. The next thing to kind of call out with this deck is the overall idea, the core strategy that you're trying to do is to get an Overwhelm attack in with a big power. And so the Iron Ballista can attack as a hallowed unit. Maybe it gets +4 attack. Now we have an 8 power Overwhelm unit. That's pretty great. But the big place where we're looking to really get that Overwhelm power is going to be through Gwen. Again, if Gwen picks up multiple hallowed bonuses off of our units to the left, she can potentially have 8 or 12 or who knows, maybe even 100 attack. And she just doesn't get to actually deal any damage without having Overwhelm. So we have the copies of Kato the Arm, we have the copies of Might to help the Gwen get her potential flips that way, and then we also have things like Whirling Death as a means to help her get in some strikes and get her to level up more quickly. The last kind of things to call out with this are we have the 2 copies of Incisive Tactician. There are not a ton of naturally reputation-based units in this deck. It's just Kato and the Headmistress Telsi and LeBlanc, but once we start adding hallowed bonuses to our units, it's very easy for them to get up to 5 attack, very easy for the Incisive Tactician to get up to reputation and come down on the cheap. The exciting thing with the Incisive Tactician, if he's coming down on the cheap, is we can potentially get copies of him with the LeBlanc mirror images. And so we can play him, get a rally, attack, LeBlanc generates a mirror image, we play the mirror image on the Incisive Tactician, we get a rally, we attack, LeBlanc generates a mirror image, we play the mirror image on the Incisive Tactician, it rallies, we attack, we get the LeBlanc generating a mirror image. You can see how this can go. You have just a lot of really high-powered stuff that LeBlanc can do here with the Tactician. And so that's the deck. That's what we're doing battle with today. Before the battles begin, you know what we got to do. We got to go and turn something premium, and we're really limited. These are all cards that we typically play throughout the standard season. Here, we'll just go ahead and upgrade the Headmistress. I typically don't upgrade the epics, but as we're in this space to where she's essentially the only Noxus card coming out of the new set, I feel like it's appropriate to give Headmistress Telsi that little bit of a bonus. And so, see if we can't get some good games here, get some good fun going in. I'm excited for 100 attack Gwen. It's most certainly bound to happen. Let's see what's up. All right, Master Yi and Janna. Gotta worry a little bit about recall effects coming in if we're going for one gigantic unit, but otherwise I think we can manage here. Reasonable enough start. Get these early aggressive Phantom Butlers going. I dig it. Alright, there's a lot of times you'll want to come in and just strike up the band right here. Lets us immediately start getting hallowed bonuses on the next turn, but like I don't think that really gets us too far. And especially up against this Master Yi deck, I think we have to worry about a lot of stuns and kind of things like that coming in. So I'd like to spread out our width here just a little bit if we can. So we'll get the double Butler on board. Master Yi can't block anybody here. That feels pretty good. If he wants to meditate and block, I mean, fine. If you want to spend some spells to trade, I'm okay with that. He only has 2 mana here. And then we can look to start picking up our hallowed bonuses on this next turn. Oh, the birds. Looking out. Master Yi, the master of bird law, if you will. All right. Summoning out the Gale Song Swallows, getting himself up to where he can block a fearsome unit. He's putting in the work today. All right, let's go ahead and just take all of this. I'd like to have gotten a Strike Up the Band on board, but opponent disagrees with how we're going to have fun today, so we'll get it on board after the fact. We'll follow up the Redeemed Prodigy, then we'll be ready to get a big open attack in next turn. Still leave us in this spot to where we'll have the mana to both Whirling Death and Might, should we want to. Alright, I don't want to give the opponent a chance to act here. Our attack is kind of good enough at this point. Everybody on board can take down Maryam and can take down a Master Yi. And so I feel pretty good just going ahead and swinging in this way. We can follow up with a Redeemed Prodigy or something, but I don't want to be too aggressive out here on this opener. Man, that was pretty good. Dude just dropped a ton of combat tricks on us. That's kind of problematic. Like, the way that we're going to sequence this out, we can add a Redeemed Prodigy here and an Eternal Dancer's next turn. But I think we might need to keep our Prodigy alive over here to the left. So let's go ahead and Whirling Death for him. Not ideal. We're getting zinged pretty hard here. We've got Hallowed a million, but we don't have any units that are going to really be crashing in next turn. That's what we get for giggling at the birds, am I right? That's what we get. But I think this is okay. Like, there's not a realistic world to where we get to Whirling Death down this Master Yi on this next turn. Like, he's just going to come in and attack way too frequently, and so let's try and make sure we don't die. Probably just die. Oh, we made it out of the turn. Still got to worry about burn spells coming in and stuff, but progress, right? So don't have to worry about the Quicksand. He can Quicksand our dude. Ooh, I guess taking Hallowed off of our Eternal Dancers would be pretty nasty. I was going to say, I'm starting to envision this this Overwhelm play that we're going to make on the next turn. And I was going to say, you know, he can't take Overwhelm off with that thing. It's just what happens right at the start. But this is nasty. Oh, we just got to have something go right. I'm going to continue to play cards here. We don't have the mana to rally this turn. Okay, GG. Just got waylaid that game. That was brutal. But I think that's what you can kind of expect coming out of just a really removal-heavy deck like that. We didn't have access to our Gwens, but it's kind of a tough space with this deck in the sense that, you know, we're playing cards like LeBlanc, and there's just so many Mystic Shots running around right now because of all the Jannas. But we also didn't really draw any of our Meteor units there, and so having to deal with just that big swath of stuff coming in was pretty painful. But on to the next one, up against Sejuani Volibear. See what we can do. So I definitely want to hang on to LeBlanc here. I'm trying to think, like, against Sejuani Volibear, are they going to have any units we really want to be soul harvesting early? I don't think so. So I'm going to go ahead and cycle it out and look for a cheap Hallowed unit. Phantom Butler making an appearance is fine. The Calling Strikes are in here for more along the lines of the strong champions, right? The Samiras, the Nilahs, the Jannas of the world. And so as we go against something like Sejuani Volibear, like, I'm not going to be surprised to see the 2/3 like summon a unit kind of thing, or summon a sigil guy come down, but actual targets that we care about for the removal, I don't think are too likely. Alright, well, we'll take the block here while we can get it. The only combat trick I really expect out of these decks is going to be the +1/+3 thing. And then, I mean, opponent could be having some kind of elemental thing in here and want to be playing Quicksands, but I don't think we're going to be too worried about that. He's under Quicksand mana now, so we're not worrying about this one. LeBlanc coming in and doing her thing. Now, we are kind of lacking in stuff to do. Hopefully we'll find something here. Strike Up the Band can get the job done to a degree. Like, do we ever really want to just Whirling Death this? I don't like it. I feel like we can find a better target than the Whirling Death. What's Sejuani up to now? 3? Alright, gotta find something good. Counting on you, LeBlanc. You can come in here with like 900 attack, but it's not enough to actually deal any damage. We can fight through this Three Sisters, though. We have the Elixir of Wrath in hand. Is that where we want to go with the Elixir instead of the Sigil? I think so. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we don't. It's like we can still look to like Whirling Death next turn if that's what it's going to come down to. All right. Well, we're just going. we're just going to do it. We're going to play all the spells. He doesn't have the Brittle Steel. Okay. Still not flipped? Come on, LeBlanc. You're gonna get Sejuani, aren't you? The big bears coming in. Have you seen the new Sejuani skin? It looks pretty sweet. I've got to give credit where credit is due. That Sejuani skin does look pretty impressive. All right, let's just go big. We don't have a lot of great summons coming out of our Eternal Dancers here, but we're going to have at least, you know, a pretty full board. It's good to me. Oh, that's risky, my dude. Okay, he moves Sejuani to the smaller dancer. Okay. Okay. So we can start to pop off next turn. Opponent's only at 3 of 5. I don't suspect they're going to very easily get the Sejuani on board. We shouldn't have to worry about Volibear coming down next turn. I mean, he's got the Ursine here, so if he plays a thing to get the ability, he can drop her next turn. But without that, we get to start popping off with the Tactician and the Mirror Images and really go ham. I don't think he can just deal damage to us. That should be pretty tough to pull off.
My move.
The day is young.
You're going to be a 6/5. Okay, we'll hit with LeBlanc. There is some argument to not get the Incisive Tactician involved here, since if it's in the back line, we can still mirror image it and get another rally after this attack. This might be too greedy, but I feel like we're presenting like 3 threats that he has to deal with, and if he doesn't like block the Tactician because he has to block the Dancers and block the LeBlanc, then we can just kill him with the Sigil of Malice. I mean, it might be too greedy. We did just pick up a second Incisive Tactician, so we can do a lot of stuff next turn in that sense, but curious to see what they do here. Oh, it just feels like we just have so much power between the Sigil of Malice and the Tactician. What could you be plotting? Interesting thing to note here as well is the strongest unit that we have is going to be this Incisive Tactician, so we should be able to start chaining it on our rallies next turn as well.
Show them our teeth. Prove your worth.
How you gonna do it, fam? So he goes to 3. Kind of want to take one of these units off the board. Let's go after the Sejuani. Right, the problem is, like, I don't want I don't want the Sigil of Malice in our hand after this combat, right? We only have spell mana, so we can't actually play anything. So now in this spot, we should be able to get an attack in. The scary thing with the angle that we took is, I mean, he can just play Volibear next turn and kill us. So hopefully that's not on the table. But we do have what should be a second lethal strike coming in, assuming Volibear's not on the table. Oh my gosh, the third Three Sisters. I guess we should have killed this Ursine instead of killing Sejuani, because now he just has all the ramps to still be able to play Volibear. Alright, well, if he had it, he would have played it. Okay. Victory unlocked. It's weird, we brought LeBlanc back out. Oh, LeBlanc flipped. LeBlanc had the 6 power, and that's why she was coming out over the rally guy. I think, like, I don't know. I think you can Eternal Dancer as the rally guy. I mean, it makes sense. You should be able to, as long as your LeBlanc isn't bigger or dead. Oof. Oops. We marked that a 2. Fixed it. Alright, so what do we got? Up against Taliyah Volibear. Volibear's everywhere today. It's a little scary. Is this the same guy? I don't remember. But we're not going to hang on to a 5-drop. The Elixir of Wrath is, like, kind of tempting, given how many like, flash freezes and stuff we've been running into. It doesn't help us combat a quicksand, but if he's going to play Three Sisters, Brittle Steel, Harsh Winds, whatever, it can let our LeBlanc survive after that. Right, strike up the band. Get the team together, ready for combat. Mm. All right, our first Telsi on the day. Ready for combat. Well, I'm not ready for combat right now. Opponent's about to dome us, but a couple of turns from now, rolling into our turn 6 attack. That's when the party's gonna start.
Surprised to see me. Don't touch it.
The winds of change blow bitter.
So he's got a double sigil. Let's see if that Taliyah is coming down next turn. It's the kind of thing that, like, we just have to be able to beat, right? It doesn't strike me as particularly strong play. Like, having these cards come down like this, and so, like, if you're gonna double sigil into, like, double sigil maker into Taliyah into a Volibear, like, that's kind of scary, I guess, but I mean, if we're just gonna sit around and durdle until turn 5 or turn 6, I feel like our deck needs to be just capable of beating that. Now we're just kind of in that spot, right? If he plays Volibear, we're just kind of fucked. I mean, I guess we can survive. He doesn't kill the Headmistress or the Eternal Dancers, and so We got a bit of strength there. It's bringing out just the little 2/1s.
Smoke and mirrors. My move.
All right. Here comes the headmistress squad.
I will see you fail. This was your fate.
So we just win all these combats pretty much? Looks like it. Okay.
I am everywhere.
Alright, well, no Volibears, please. What other big units Taliyah gonna play? Like, is she going to play, like, the Arsenal doesn't seem great. I've kind of thought about playing Taliyah Zig's Arsenal with the Sigil of the Storms, but... yeah. It's like you just gotta squeeze the cheeks. Like, did you hit the big perfect draw? No? Okay. Then we're good. Oh, here's the primetime Kato the arm.
It's a fool's promise.
Can this deck ever deal a point of damage? Guess not. Guess not. So we miss out on the highlight reel style of play, but we at least secured the victory. Oh, but where I was trying to get at with that, I wasn't trying to talk trash about the opponent, it's just in the sense of how good is your deck when things don't go right, and that's what strikes me as being like really weak in terms of the like Taliyah based decks like that. Like the kind of Taliyah decks of the past, you're going to be playing like at worst a Preservarium, but more likely you're going to be playing some kind of card that lets you like generate a big rock bear, and I just don't quite see it. Like having to ramp the sigils into Volibear. It's like if things go wrong and you're out here copying a thing that generates a vulnerable, that just has to feel so bad.
I'm here in Janna's name.
All right. Opponent refuses to interact with our dudes. Got a nice curve happening here. Everybody big enough for this current combat. Nice that everyone here interacts well with the likes of Nilah, and so pretty cool with that. I wonder if these decks are ever just going to start playing Caustic Rifts because it's so easy for them to deal damage, get everyone to 1 health. Like I don't know how I feel about the Eternal season coming up when we're like, oh cool, it's a it's Twisted Fate with Nilah, but you know there are some AoEs in the format right now, but nobody's playing the rest of the Nilah kit in that sense. All right, well it's like we finally got the headmistresses to go with Gwen, but we don't have any hallowed bonuses at this point, and so there's not a whole lot of reason to get her on board. We can go ahead and add in Kato. I mean, Kato giving Gwen Overwhelm is going to do a real number in terms of getting her leveled up quickly, but this attack's not that special otherwise.
I shall need my tools.
I give you muscles.
Rethink your choices. Nah, not a chance.
All right, something coming in. The chain of spells about to come right at us. Being mean to Gwen, huh? That's kind of lame, dude. I just did the mathematics on that problem, and it turns out that was kind of lame. And so, hopefully the thing's still going for us here as we have the headmistress along with Kato the arm. And so if he doesn't have a way to remove Kato before we get into combat, and we give the headmistress up the +6 and get the overwhelm doubler with Kato. Quite powerful there. We're at Hallowed 2. He's only got 1 card in hand. Like, what are the chances that this Janna deck can actually take down the headmistress? Right, we can play cards this turn, but like his ability to kill Kato the Arm, super high. I don't think he can do anything about Telsi. Encore's got to be a good start, right? That's got to be a good one. You GG's it. Call it a day. Does anyone know what time it is? Kato time. Somebody out there said it with me. I wasn't the only one. It's probably just what's her name? Oh, okay, Shiraza the Blade out there cheering on with us. All right, let's get ourselves in one more battle. Kato time. Don't get to say that with enough frequency. Kato the Arm hasn't really had a great chance to shine in the Legends of Runeterra. It was one of the things that was interesting and fun is the Tarhita Draft League we played in Season 1. I don't remember how long ago that was. It's been 6 months or so. But I drafted the Kato the Arm Shiraza the Blade deck because that's just kind of what came together. And we came so close. It was like we had the opportunity to win some games with it right at the end, and it just fell a little bit short in the top 8. But that was one of my happiest moments, getting to bring bring the Shiraza and Kato dating combo directly into the spotlight. But all right, up against more Volibear today. This iteration of Volibear, courtesy of Shadow Isles. I feel like, what have we done? We've hit the Shurima version, and we've hit, well, we hit I guess a Janna version, and then a Taliyah version, and then now the Shadow Isles version. I'm curious what the top end of Volibear here is supposed to look like. It's like I've always looked at playing, a lot of ramp cards coming out of Shadow Isles, and I guess I need to slow my roll here. This deck doesn't necessarily need to be generating big Shadow Isles units, right? It doesn't need to be hitting Rasa or Captain Ladros. Those units all just kind of suck. But it can probably just play Freylord units, right? So that's why I need to slow down just a little bit before I start being like, where's this guy's Rasa, because you just don't play Rasa easy peasy. All right, reasonable enough start though. Opponent hasn't really done anything to stop us. It's like this is just kind of one of these awkward spots to where if we're kind of thinking towards the future, we need to ensure that we have a dead unit. And so, like, I'm not entirely opposed to getting these ghastly bands down and dead. I was kind of thinking of soul harvesting the Ceaseless Sentry as to why I really got on this tangent, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's where we're gonna be. I think we're gonna just lose a unit in this combat. I didn't want to just like soul harvest the Ceaseless Sentry, and then he's like, "Cool, thanks. I'm just gonna like draw a card and play a fresh unit now." Right? That messes up our combats, and so we're just gonna have a dead unit easily enough, anyways. We'll take this one down though. Right on tempo. We can add Telsi in. Hallowed Dancers next turn. Hallowed Dancers ready to summon 2 Overwhelm units to the board. Looks pretty good and pretty cool. Pretty awesome and pretty sweet. It's doing everything, Alright, not afraid of that guy whatsoever. You see it come down and you just say, "Nice unit, bro." Ignore it. Nice unit, bro. Where did you get that one? At the unit store? Alright. Let's see how hard we just get smashed here now. We've started the trash talk, and so things can only go downhill from here. Okay. Lethal. You're gonna have a Harsh Winds. A Vengeance. Alright, well I did the mathematics on this one. This is 11. Let's see if that's enough. Could have a Brittle Steel. Doesn't. GG, well played. The W has been marked for bust. We can pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. And so, I think we hit like all of the highlights with this style of deck. You know, we got these really powerful bonuses that you can hit off of the Headmistress. We got to use the Eternal Dancers multiple times. We got to use Kato the Arm. I don't think we got a Gwen one in there, but Gwen is the big kind of selling point for this. We got one Gwen attack in with the Headmistress, I think. But at the end of the day, a lot of real power that come out of these style of abilities. Now, in terms of this deck and like coming up with the next versions of it and stuff, I feel like there's probably a place for one of the Explorers. Again, I've like harped on this over the past few videos that the more I play the Explorers, the better that they just feel. And it's kind of interesting in the space of this deck because you get access to the Shadow Isles one with Lifesteal, and you can come up with some like very interesting looking formats to where, you know, if you hallowed like 4 attack onto a lifesteal unit, that's a gigantic life swing in terms of battling against aggro decks, or more importantly, playing against stuff like the Fizz decks, however you're wanting to look at it, like the Samira Fizz or Nilah Samira, however we're going to look at it these days, to where they don't actually interact very well outside of playing just like a pirouette or playing a Samira on the attack. And so it's not very challenging to set up these boards with this deck to where you're like, oops, I gained 7, and you still have to block this thing, right? And so I'm very interested as the attack power bonuses that we could potentially get apply very nicely to a lot of the units here. But otherwise, this deck has some real strengths to it. Getting these really big attack powers, flying onto these double attacks and coming in with the might and stuff. Very powerful, very strong, especially if the opponent's not willing to interact with you. And so, good stuff. Good set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.